You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Friday, May 7th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, Destination Star Trek announces dates for this year's London convention. Hero Collector heads to the Delta Quadrant with its new Starship Encyclopedia, and I've got the answer to Tuesday's trivia question. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Star Trek fans in the UK have reason to celebrate as Destination Star Trek, Europe's official Star Trek convention, has finally confirmed its rescheduled dates for last year's cancelled event in London, and they brought along a little celebrity firepower to do it. In an announcement posted on Wednesday on their website and official Twitter page, the organizers of the convention said, "We are delighted to be able to say that with the positive news from the vaccine rollout and very low level of daily COVID infections, it's time to set course for Destination Star Trek London on the 12th to 14th of November, Maximum Warp." The news was paired with a video from Star Trek Voyager's EMH, Robert Picardo, who raised a glass, presumably of Romulan ale, and offered a toast in celebration of the announcement, adding, "We've waited a long time for this. Let's all be there." According to the Destination Star Trek website, fans who attend the event in London will have a chance to see Jonathan Del Arco, fresh off his return as fan-favorite ex-Borg Hugh in Star Trek Picard, along with Kate Mulgrew, Robert Beltran, Jerry Ryan, and many more from the crew of Star Trek Voyager. Additional guest announcements are on the way, according to the site. Destination Star Trek has been hosting official franchise-related events in Europe since 2012, and they describe themselves as taking the best elements of a convention and a signing event to create a weekend of Star Trek celebration. It features photo shoots, autograph sessions, panels, and also a Star Trek museum displaying props, costumes, and other items used to create the Star Trek universe on screen. Destination Star Trek London was also my very, very first Star Trek convention. For more information on tickets, visit the Destination Star Trek website at destinationstartrek.com. This week, Hero Collector Books released the latest installment in the Star Trek Shipyards Encyclopedia series, Star Trek, the Borg and the Delta Quadrant, A Criterion to Krenim. Sci-Fi Wire brought us a preview of the new book, which takes the reader through every ship in the Delta Quadrant. Well, up until Krenim, anyway. The book is the first of a 2-volume set. Volume 1 will take you on an alphabetical journey through each Delta Quadrant vessel. On the mission of the book, editor Ben Robinson told Sci-Fi Wire, "What we wanted to do is give people full CG renders of every ship that's ever appeared on any of the shows." With a focus on the Delta Quadrant, it's no surprise that nearly all of the ships were seen on Star Trek Voyager. At this point in Star Trek history, the use of CG ships on screen was becoming more and more common. That means documenting all of those ships was no small task. "There are so many Delta Quadrant ships that we had to split it into 2 volumes, Robinson said. "We've recorded everything we could about them, along with some pretty stunning images." Of course, no trip to the Delta Quadrant would be complete without a visit from the Borg. With the Borg featuring prominently in so many Star Trek series and films over the years, audiences have already had the opportunity to see many different types of Borg ship, not just the typical but menacing Borg cube. Voyager introduced quite a variety, from the peanut-shaped probe to the diamond-shaped Queen's ship, Robinson said of the Borg ships, adding, "You actually learn a fair amount about Borg ships on Voyager. Janeway had a bit of a thing for infiltrating them. We've got all of that in here, and I think everyone will get a kick out of seeing some of those Borg interiors." Star Trek, the Borg and the Delta Quadrant, A Criterion to Krenim was written by Marcus Riley, Ian Chaddock, and Mark Wright, and is available now from bookshop.org, amazon.com, or wherever you get your books. The second volume of the Borg and the Delta Quadrant, covering ships from the Laodician to the Zal, will be released on July 6th of this year and is available for pre-order now. I've got the answer to Tuesday's trivia in just a moment, but first, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes, when you really need help, getting off your backside and going and getting it can feel like an insurmountable obstacle. I've been there. So you have to find someone who might not be suitable. You have to make an appointment and you have to leave the house, which, again, can seem insurmountable at times. And overall, you have to commit money to something that you're not 100% sure is going to even be worth it. Then enters BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp is trying to make that whole process easier so that there are fewer barriers between where you are now and where you want to be. It's more affordable than traditional counseling. You can schedule messages or meetings at times that work for you. It's all from the comfort of your own home, and they even make it free and easy to change counselors if you need to. So if you're facing that big hill, the insurmountable obstacle between you and the help that you know you need, it might be time to look at BetterHelp. I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a daily Star Trek news listener, you can get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health and gotten over that insurmountable barrier. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DSTN. Now it's the answer to this week's Trek trivia. Okay, so this week we got Trebekian and asked you to put your answer in the form of a question. Specifically, we asked you to name the 5 episodes of Star Trek that end in a question mark. The survey says... It's the wrong game show. Anyway, those 5 episodes are the 3 original series episodes, What Are Little Girls Made Of?, Who Mourns for Adonis, and Is There in Truth No Beauty? We've got the Deep Space Nine episode, Who Mourns for Morn, and the Discovery episode, Will You Take My Hand? And of course, in order, the answer to those questions are Sugar and Spice, Apollo, There Is Beauty in Truth, Quark, and As Soon as COVID is Over. For more Trek trivia, tune in next Tuesday. Well, that's it for today's daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and written by Chris Peterson and Jack Brown, with trivia by Joshua Eves. Today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. I'm back on Monday with more of the Star Trek news you need to know. I'm Alison Pitt. Have a wonderful weekend. And live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.